has to download a lot of stuff. And now we choose developer default. Okay, it's gonna include all the programs we're gonna need, and it's very simple. You don't need to click anything else. Just put developer. All right, and it's gonna ask you if you want to install this shit. I'm not installing it. Yeah, it's all right. So now it's gonna tell you what's gonna install. So you click on execute, and it's gonna start downloading everything you need, pretty much, and it's gonna do it all for you. And there we go, we got everything installed now. We're gonna click next. It's gonna configure everything. Alright, and this is where it gets not tricky at all, but we just need to click next pretty much. And now we're gonna set a password, alright? For this video, in the password, I'm gonna put test, alright? You need a strong password for this in case somebody wanted to hack the server or whatever. If they got that password, they're gonna be able to access your SQL, and they can mess everything up pretty much. They can mess with the database, but they can mess with everything. So just don't put test in the password, alright guys? Put something you're gonna remember. Alright, and we're not gonna add any user. We're just gonna use root for this. I mean, we don't have to be that secure, and we don't have to add the privileges and all of that shit. So we're just gonna use root. Alright, and now you get some options to install MySQL server as a Windows service. I recommend this, and then start the MySQL server as a system startup. So that way, when you restart your PC, you don't need to find the patch to start MySQL or anything. Alright, so it's gonna be standard user account, and now we're gonna click execute, and it's gonna start MySQL server and all this stuff, and we're gonna get a nice notification saying what's going on. So now, yeah, let's put this away. Alright, so now if you right click on this, you will see that MySQL is running. You can stop or restart the server whenever you want. Alright, you're free to do it, and I wouldn't restart unless I change something, but you can always restart it. So now we're gonna finish, and we are pretty much done. It's gonna tell us the password, which is test. We're gonna use user root. It's gonna check, yeah, the password is right, and now it's gonna try again. What's going on? Everything runs okay. Finish. Alright, and we're pretty much done. Alright, now MySQL Workbench is gonna open, but we're not gonna start yet. Alright, we're gonna wait a little bit. Alright, now what we can do is install Navicat. Navicat is the program you're gonna use to control your player base, basically to make sure nobody's hacking pretty much. Check all the tables of your players and just pretty much control the server. Someone loses a mohawk and he doesn't know where it is. Well, you can find the coordinates in the database. Basically, it's gonna manage all your database, and it's gonna be very, very easy to use. Alright, so we got Navicat, connect it. We're just gonna hit trial, whatever. No, we're not gonna check for updates. Alright, so now we're gonna start the new connection, and it's gonna ask for the name. We're just gonna put Excel. Then the password for root is gonna be test. In our case, you put your password for root, and you click OK. If you double click it and you see that it's green, that means it's the right password. If not, it's gonna tell you, alright? So there we go. Now we're gonna execute the Excel SQL. We can do it on two ways. I recommend using MySQL Workbench because you will see what happens, and it's pretty you will see it's pretty easy to use, like no big deal. We're gonna start a new connection. We're gonna store the password in bold. It's the same MySQL password. It's test for us, but please guys, change it. Then we're gonna put on the connection name Excel. Don't worry about this name, like it's not the name we're gonna use in Navicat or anything, but I'm just choosing Excel to make it easy. It's like a session, alright? And now we're just gonna go and open an SQL script, alright? This SQL script is in the folder I gave you. In my case, I put it in the desktop. It's this one, right? You see all of this, right? Well, it's gonna create a database. As you can see, it's gonna create a database if it doesn't exist already, and it's gonna set your SQL mode in no auto value in 0. We'll talk about that later, but for now we're gonna put it like this. We're gonna execute it. Should be done by now. Alright, and it did everything we need. So now we're gonna refresh, and boom, you got your Excel database. Isn't that cool? Nice. Let's go. And now in Navicat, if we refresh it, you see that we got an Excel database with players and all the tables we need to manage our server. Isn't that cool? Alright, so now we got the database working. Now we're almost set. We're almost ready to go. So, as you can see in here, there's a folder, like a file called start.bat. Well, we're gonna see what that file does. It just makes things very easy for you guys. So now, we're just gonna go in our Arma 3 server files, and we're gonna look for that file. You see that? Start.bat? Well, we're gonna see what it says. It's basically gonna start Arma and tell Arma, okay, the config files are here. You need to execute these files, use these files to make the config of the server. Alright? So now what we're gonna do is see what those config files say. Alright? We're gonna edit them with Notepad, and this one is pretty much putting random stuff. We're not gonna touch this one, but then this second one, that's the important one. It's gonna have your admin pass and your icon pass. Be sure nobody has those passwords, because they can log in as admin in your server and mess everything up, or get the icon and mess everything up. Alright, you don't want people to know that. Alright, perfect. So now we're pretty much good to go. We're almost done. Alright, so now we're gonna go in our Excel server, and we're gonna edit extdb-conf.ini, and we're just gonna edit with Notepad. Alright, so now as you can see, we got some passwords going on. This one is for remote access. I would put something, you know, I'm just gonna put test. You put whatever you want in there. Oh, let's put test like this. Alright, then we got this. Alright, Excel is gonna use your database, so basically you need to tell the game to use this database, which is named Excel, that you got in Navicat already open, and it's named Excel. Alright, this name is not important. This name is very important. So you're gonna tell your game to use this database, and then to use your username, which is root, and then your SQL password. Remember that I put a test, but you need to put your SQL password in here. The rest is just don't touch it. Alright, it's pretty simple. Alright, now we're almost done. What I would do is try if the server works. Alright, we're gonna try it out and see what happens. So now we got the server running. As you can see, it says game started. Now we're gonna execute Arma. If you got Steam, I would recommend use the launcher. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? You basically create a profile, say an Excel mod. You just put it to use Excel, and you play the game. You launch the game, and it loads. Nothing crazy. Alright, so now we're gonna wait for Arma to initialize. Alright, we're gonna hit play, multiplayer, it's on LAN. Now we're gonna double click our test server. It's gonna load, put us in the lobby. I won't expect it to work. You're gonna see a problem that pretty much, I would say, more than 50% of you guys are gonna have this problem, but I will show you how it looks so you guys know how to fix it. It's gonna stay receiving data. I got the mission PBO already, so I'm not going to download the PBO in the game again, but you guys are probably going to have to download it. That's going to say downloading PBO, blah blah blah. Alright, so now it's going to be loading. Take some time. You know, it's a complicated mod. Alright.